Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for attending our second series on our three-part series of the certification. Mm, Sorry. Um, so our certification series is with Broward County, SBA, Small Business Administration, and today we have the Small Business Development Center, SBDC, Broward County Public School, that's us, and the Apex Accelerator. We will start promptly at 10 a.m. with the presentations. Today's part two, financial considerations for government contracting. Just a brief update on EDDC. EDDC stands for our Economic Development and Diversity Compliance Department. Our focus, um, we work with procurement, contracting, and helping all businesses around the community. And a lot of that falls in a guideline of entrepreneurship, business recruitment, contracting opportunities, construction apprenticeship, business resources, business marketing, certification, and events. We have two upcoming events that are happening April 23rd is a Brunch and Learn Expo, basically how to start a construction business and get leads. We are sponsored we are sponsored by Pirtle, BBB, and PWF. We have a couple seats left. This is limited seating, so if you would like to attend, please do so now. The event is from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's really insightful, it's really resourceful. The second event we have is Hard Hats and Heal, which is April 25th. If you're a woman in construction or want to learn more about construction and joining NABWIC, which is National Association of Black Women in Construction, this is the perfect event for you. The event is from 11 to 2 a.m. 2 p.m. And we'll be discussing all about NABWIC and certification with the School Board of Broward County as well. Here at EDDC, we're a small team. This is our team here. We have Jennifer Andreu. She's the executive director. Molly Copeland, the department secretary. Jasmine Jones, the manager. Anne Marie, she's the coordinator. Lavina, she's specialist. Haiti, she's a specialist as well. And then there's me, who's the marketing and outreach specialist. Michael, he's a compliance manager. Vincent Jones, certification manager. And Tasha Campbell, she does the concierge for all certifications, certified vendors. For those of you who have not done so as of yet, please subscribe to our YouTube page. All the videos that are done from the certification series will be uploaded on the YouTube page. They won't be public for everyone, but everyone who has attended has access to the video. I have sent an email to each and every single one of you. If you have not received the email, please let me know. Email me directly. In addition, I've added the link to session one inside the chat. It's actually pinned, so you guys should be able to access the link as well. Also, for all the presentations today, I just want to make it seamless. So I would like everyone to please ask the questions in the Q&A questions. And if you want to chat and network and, put your business information in the chat, that's fine. But for questions for the presenters, please put them in the Q&A so it's easier for us to filter. If you're not following us yet, please follow us on social media. All platforms are BCPS EDDC. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and our website is browardschools.com/EDDC. I would like to thank all of our partners today. Althea, she's the SBA Deputy Director. She'll be saying a couple of words today. Sandy McDonald, he's the Broward County OESBD Director. And of course, we have Jennifer, and she'll be chiming in shortly. Our presentation schedule today is 10 a.m. with Kirk Dobson, 10:30 with Crystal Ferrari, and 11:40 a.m. with JJ. If you have any questions, I emailed this to all of you. If you didn't receive it, please let me know. Please take a screenshot of this. This is an easy way for you to filter each entity and ask questions. For SBA, it's South Florida _DO at SBA.gov. For Broward County Public Schools, it's SDOP certification at BrowardSchools.com. For Broward County Government, it's SB Cert at Broward.org. And for the Broward County Black Chamber of Commerce, for assistance in packaging your certification documents, it's info at browardcountychamber.org. And I'll have Jennifer chime in shortly. And now we're introducing Jennifer Andreu, Jennifer is a transformational leader with approximately 30 years of experience and accomplishments in public and private education. In her current role as the Executive Director Operations with the School Board of Broward County, Jennifer oversees procurement warehouse services, business support center, economic development, and diversity compliance department. Jennifer is committed to expanding opportunities underutilized businesses with the School Board of Broward County.
Good morning. Thank you, Diana. She always wants to read my bio, but thank you, Diana, and welcome everyone to part two of our certification series. We're so excited to see you this morning. I know that we have well over 140 attendees right now, and that number is growing. I want to tell you how excited I am that so many of you are engaging with us. I also want to do a disclaimer because many of our in-person events are already, at capacity. So if you are unable to register for a few of the upcoming events, I apologize. We do have to cap them because of the capacity in the various rooms that we utilize from our partners in Sunrise and Plantation. And so, due to restrictions with the size of the room, we have to cap them. So, if you do not have a QR code or you're unable to register, that is why we apologize and look forward to welcoming you at a future event. And make sure that you do, when you get this information from Diana, you RSVP early because it is first come, first serve. So, with that being said, again, I want to welcome all of our business owners. I know you all are aware that financial management is really the cornerstone of sustainable growth and success. And this is especially true when it comes to government procurement. Navigating this world in public procurement presents unique financial considerations that can significantly impact your business. So, first and foremost, it's crucial that you understand the distinct nature of public procurement. It is very different than private sector procurement. And unlike typical commercial contracts, our government contracts often come with other stringent regulations and compliance requirements. That's why we have the Economic Office for Business Development and Compliance. This means that your financial strategies need to align not only with the needs of your business, but also with the policies and procedures of government entities that you might be doing business with or that you want to do business with, which hopefully you're adding Broward County Public Schools to that list. So while government contracting can offer lucrative opportunities for growth and stability, it also requires careful and informed approach to your financial management as a business owner. So by understanding and addressing these key financial considerations, you will be better equipped to position your business for success in the competitive landscape of public procurement. I want to thank you again for your time. I know that this information will be helpful to you, not only with the School Board of Broward County, but any other public government entity. We look forward to this continued discussion and leveraging opportunities effectively. As I always say, myself and the entire team, we are here to help you. We want to see all of you be wildly successful. So if there's anything that I or any member of the EDDC team can do to help you, please do not hesitate to contact us via email or phone or come and see us in person. Again, thank you for tuning in today. And Diana, I turn it back over to you. While we're waiting for Diana, I'll check and see if there are any questions for me in the Q&A part. Um, if we have to learn about school contract process, is this a good platform? It absolutely is. This is the best place to learn about doing business with the School Board of Broward County. And you can find all of our procurement solicitations on Demand Star. So if you have not signed up for Demand Star, I encourage you to do that. That is where we publish all of our solicitations. And we look forward to doing business with you. Uh, the Eventbrite for the Brunch and Learn says sold out. Unfortunately, yes, it is. That is what I was telling you earlier. That event is sold out. We have reached capacity. I'm so sorry, but we look forward to seeing you at our upcoming events. And is the
Okay,
event
I'm
for
back.
April 25th only for women? No, it is not only for women. I think it's geared to women, but it's not only for women. So I think I answered all the questions that I saw in the Q&A. And Diana, I'll turn it back over to you. And I also
Thank
want
you.
to just say hello to my wonderful friends and colleagues, Sandy and Althea. Thank you so much for being here. We always appreciate your participation. Uh, just absolutely, I've known them both for years, adore them, wealth of information. So thank you for taking the time out of your schedules to be with us today.
Okay. And now we have some words from Sandy McDonald.
Diana, thank you. And Jennifer, thank you. And I'm going to speak for Althea too. We love you just as much 10 times over. Know that. So, hey guys, greetings, as the slide says, greetings from the Office of Economic and Small Business Development. I'm Sandy McDonald. I'm the director. And yes, we love to partnership with any and everything Broward School does. So at the end of the day, it's not going to be about me today. I'm going to bring Kirk Dobson on, who's going to talk to you about procurement. We got some slides at the end to make sure that you know about the upcoming conference. But as a part of what Jennifer said, even when it's about access to capital, readiness for capital, about having capacity to deliver on what you do. The same holds true with Broward County government, and Kirk's going to dive into some of the deep end, understanding as a regular vendor slash business or certified small business. We're carving these things out, creating these opportunities for you, but you must be in a position to deliver. Now, we're not doing that as a part of fear mongering because we get to say it. You need to be in position to deliver, but we're here to help you build that capacity, to get that training, to be developed. We want you to be successful when you're entering this aspect of government procurement. So I'll leave it there for today. But again, thank you, Broward Schools, for having us here. And Kirk, we're going to turn it over to you, and he's going to share information on the procurement side, which is what we're about today.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
That's
Okay,
a
good.
yes.
Yeah, we did some shuffling because we had some technical difficulties, as you know, Murphy's Law. As Sandy introduced me, my name is Kirk Dobson. I work in the Vendor Management Office in purchasing. Although it may be free to register to do business with the county, there are a lot of financial considerations. And I'm going to review some of those today. And just, this is not an exhaustive list by no means, right? But these are some of the ones that kind of stand out. And in no order of importance, I guess, startup costs and things like that. It's titled Financial Considerations for Vendors Contracting with Government Entities, right? So some of it, in your journey of doing business with not just the county, but the school board and maybe different municipalities, if you go that way, you're going to find that these different organizations have different processes. Some of them are the same, some considerations, they have, congruency, but there are going to be minor differences. So it is incumbent on you to be familiar with all the processes and keep up, because the processes, you're going to hear me say it over and over again, the processes change, right? Just like you and your businesses, as you go along, you develop efficiencies and you change your processes. So does the government. And the stereotype out there is that government is very inefficient. Well, we're always striving to be more efficient. So I'll just leave that there. So startup costs, right? You have to take in consideration your time doing research and either trying to decide if you want to do business with that entity. Once you get into doing business with that entity, registering, you got to compile documents. Some of it you may not even think you need. right? But you need to take time to do your research, compile your documents and things like that, etc. Time is money, right? So you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste our time, because there are, you know, this conference was supposed to have almost 500 vendors, right? So there are a lot of people out there looking to do business or get started or get information. So you have to be cognizant of the time that you're consuming. You have to think about if you need legal help. Some of you guys are good enough to kind of wade through the ambiguity and the complexity of legal contracts, but some of you might have to pay for that help, right? So you need help explaining terms and conditions, and those are important because you can get lost in those, right? And then thirdly, but not finally, is estimating your costs. You got to determine whether you're capable of delivering all the things that that contract calls for, and if you have the bandwidth. So that's just a couple of things there for your startup costs and things you need to consider there, right? Also, along the same lines, you need insurance, and you need bonds depending on the type of contracts you get, right? Just a couple here. Bid bonds, right? That basically is a financial guarantee to from the bidder that they'll be able to do the work. Normally that can be anywhere from 5 to 10%, but working with the government, that's around 20% of the value of the contract. So that changes depending on the agreement. Performance bonds, which protects the client from a contractor's failure. So when you can't deliver, the county would need some recourse, right? So that's a performance bond, and that's normally 4%, right? And these are not cut in stone, right? So just a gauge. That's normally around 4%. You have to think of insurance requirements. Depending on the value of the contract, our risk management department kind of assigns some liability insurance that you're going to have to put forward, right? It could be 100,000, it could be nothing, it could be up to $1 million. I know for Parks and Recreations, the minimum there is $1 million, right? And then there's a living wage or prevailing wage consideration. And if you're not familiar with the living wage, it adjusts annually, and basically you have certain services that are covered by the ordinance, and the ordinance is listed in the deck there. And basically, if you have certain employees that are covered, like for security, they have a base wage, and if you supply them with health coverage, then you can pay them one base wage. Right now, let's give a number to it. It's $18.17. That's if you provide health insurance. If you don't, you got to add the healthcare amount, which is $3.86. So that's for like security and those kind of services. For every other covered service, it starts at $15.87, and of course you got to add, if you're not offering health insurance, you got to add that healthcare amount, which is $3.86. So you can be paying anywhere from $15.87 to $19.73, depending on whether you offer insurance to an employee or not. And that also pertains to your subcontractors. They also, if the contract calls for a living wage, they also have to abide by that. For the next slide, we're going to talk about your pricing strategy. You have to be intimate with the runnings of your business. Know your costs, whether direct, indirect. You got to decide what your margins are going to be. What do you want your profits to be? You have to be careful not to underbid. Overbidding is something else. You want to, of course, that's a delicate line, right? But you want to be careful not to underbid. And it's not a simple process. If you're going back to see what other vendors that have won contracts for that service in the past is, and you're looking at the amount that they bid, and you're going to use that as a baseline, that's probably the wrong approach, right? You can't assume that the previous contract and what they paid is going to be good enough for you to win the next bid. So just keep that in mind. The next slide talks about invoicing and payments and other type of reporting. You have to be familiar with government invoicing requirements, right? And keep in mind that even though you agree to a price on your contract, you might have certain items that go through a pass-through. And then keep in mind, the government always has the right to challenge the fairness of your pricing, right? So you may be asked to provide additional documentation for if you're purchasing an item and you're reselling it to the government, right? We can ask for some substantiation of your pricing to make sure that you're charging the government a fair price. You have to keep records as far as utilization reports, and that's when you're a CBE, you have requirements for CBE, SBE, DBE, and ACDBE. If you don't know what that means, small business enterprises, county business enterprises, DBE or disadvantaged business enterprise, and that's Department of Transportation, and then of course with the FAA doing business at the airport, it's airport concessions, disadvantaged business enterprises. A lot of acronyms when you're dealing with the government. The next slide talks about your tax readiness, right? You have to understand that you can't charge tax to the government, right? But at the same time, you need to handle your payroll taxes, your business taxes, your 1099 reporting, and all the local business tax certifications and requirements. You have to be diligent in keeping up with those, right? Your subcontractor management. If you have a contract and you have subcontractors, you have to be ready to pay them, right? Even if your payment is delayed from the county, you have to be ready to pay them. All right. You have to understand that as far as next slide, please. All right. Sorry. You have to be ready to make sure that your payment terms are aligned with your cash flow. Because if you don't have that money in the bank to pay them, and your payment from the government is delayed, then you're going to have issues, right? You have to be compliant with the clauses, and the contracts do specify how you pay and how you deal with your subcontractors, i.e. the living wages, and you have to pay them. It stipulates as far as the payment terms. All right. Next slide. One of the most important things is you have to be able to have the capacity to scale. I know a lot of you guys are small businesses, but you have to be able to staff up, expand your operations if you get a contract and you know, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but some of the contracts other municipalities may choose to piggyback that contract, right? So now you have, you decided to contract with Broward County. Fort Lauderdale has a need for the same thing. They can piggyback that contract. So now you have to have more staff to support both, right? You have to scale up your supply chain and your inventory system along with delivery requirements. So you have to keep that in mind, that you have to have the ability to scale up. The good thing about that is the OESBD does have programs for all of these things, right? I don't know if you gauge this from Sandy Michael's introduction, but he is enthusiastic with his pursuit of helping small businesses. And I'm going to leave it like that. The more you deal with the office, that is going to translate. The next slide talks about audit preparedness, right? That's always a possibility, whether it be from the county, because we do have the right to go in and inspect your books to make sure that you have the capacity to continue doing business. But you have the IRS and those other audit agencies. But you have to maintain organized records for audits, reviews. You have to keep backup documentation of your invoices, your timesheets, your receipts. Just keep clear records of your subcontractor payments, payroll, and things like that. And I know it kind of went fast, but that's because I'm a little nervous, and two, there are a lot of folks on here that have to share important information with you. So with that, the next slide is just my wrap up, right? And I want to say, although it's possible to get rich doing business with the government, but it's not probable, right? Countless people do well doing business with the government. Unfortunately and conversely, some people don't do it, right? Like I said before, this is by no means an exhaustive list of all your considerations, but if you choose to do business with the government and this is what you're going to make your living doing, you've got to put in the sweat equity. You have to do the work, right? I had a conversation with my daughter, just a sidebar, the other day. She plays softball and she's not giving her all. comment to her was, this is what you want to do. I've given you all the resources to make sure you're successful, right? These organizations on the call today, they're offering you the resources to make you successful. You have to do your part in using all the resources. You got to do your research and be intimate with the processes. And like I said earlier, processes change. So with that, any questions? Then let me preface that by saying that if I can't answer your question, you can set my contact information at the beginning of the deck. You can email me those and I'll get back to you. I'll get you answers. But any questions, make them soft questions so I can answer them for you. Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Sandy, you're back up.
Y'all missed that opportunity to ask those questions. So, however, so Kirk or somebody cut your mic off so we won't get that reverb. But he'll still be around. He's with the county. He's not going anywhere. Actually, as I go through these next slides, you'll also probably get to see him on May 9th. So again, use your phone, QR code, and this allows you to get the Business Assistance Weekly. I don't want to clutter your emails, but if you want to know what this office is doing, if you want to know about bids in advance, legally in advance, if you want to know about special initiatives, if you want to contact this office, you want my Wednesday night newsletter. So use that QR code to register to receive our newsletter every Wednesday about 6:15. Gives you all the information that we have to share, and it also tells you about events and other activities coming up. That's the QR code. Next slide. So guys, this is our half-day workshop. I think I only have one more of those to go, and this was listening to your business. So for some of you, if you are 1, 3, 5, maybe 7-year-old business, and it's not that you're disappointed, but you just don't believe you are where you want to be, this half-day Kaufman workshop, I will walk you through an opportunity to see a future vision, where you want to be 5 years from now, take a quick peek at what you said 3, 5, 7 years ago when you got started, but as of today, I will help you create a tool that will get you to that 3, 5, 7-year goal. So that next workshop called Listening to Your Business is on April 21st, 5 to 8. Next slide. And here's the conference, guys. And this, congratulations, Jennifer, Broward Schools, the whole 9 yards. You got over 160, 70 people here. I hope you all recognize that this is a conference that we put on each year. And it's respectfully, substantively about how can I bring as many resources in a room to share with businesses who want to know, am I really ready for capital? What's the process to access the capital? What other resources I can find in terms of HR? Do I really understand Career Source Broward and how they have training grants, how they have interns, and how they have potential opportunities for OJT, where as a company, if I have a full-time employee, there's a percentage, 50 or 60% of a salary they'll pay for about 6 or 7 months. Real access to dollars. This event isn't free, it's just prepaid because we use sponsors, and as a part of the taxes you pay, that's this office. If you want to be around 800 minimum other businesses, 150 or so supportive resources, Convention Center, May 9th, join us. But again, you can get more information on that on the Wednesday night newsletter. You can get that on our website. And some of you, I need to be open. Some of you have the size and capacity that you might want to be a vendor because you want other businesses to know about you and that which you do. So May 9th, Convention Center, want to make sure you pass that on. And if you don't attend, trust me, find somebody else who will attend because they can benefit. Next slide. Small business grants. The county started a pilot program last year, and we gave out $2,500 small business. We gave out $2,500 to small businesses. We had a cap of about 100, but the idea, they still want to just seed as a pilot to see if the 2,500 can be supportive to our small business community, primarily our smallest of small business community. So A, that QR code, scan me, check that out. There will be another workshop on May 23rd when we'll walk you through it slowly, but there'll even be, if you go to my website, a workshop before May 23rd. We just added a new one, and you can also get all the information on the website. We want you to understand what the eligibilities are, what the requirements are, and if you fit it, make sure in reviewing the application, which is online, when we open the platform to take the applications for the grant, you want to do it as soon as possible. And again, that's also listed on our website. But this is just to let you know the county commissioners are going to do a second round of micro grants, $2,500. Next slide. And this is about our technical assistance Fridays. Yep, you can always come to our office over here on Andrews, but we also have a location at Nova Southeastern University. We are partners with the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center of Innovation. And my technical assistance staff, a certification, they're there on the first and third Fridays of every month, 8:30 to 4:30. So if you're on that side of town near NSU and you want to have access to my folks, every first and third Friday of the month, you can meet our people at the Technical Assistance Fridays at the Center of Innovation at the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center of Innovation. That's on the NSU campus. Next slide. And these are just some of the upcoming events. But again, broward.org/econdev, my event page. You can see everything we're doing, everything we're proposing to do, everything we're planning to do. You get to see it in advance by just simply following us on the events page of our website. Broward.org/econdev is the website. And you can also slash and go to pages/events and see all the upcoming events. Next. And stay ready. The triennial DBE stakeholders, I know you heard Kirk earlier, DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, ACDBE, Airport Concessions, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. In short, whenever we touch money from DOT, Department of Transportation, we have to utilize a methodology to make sure that DBEs, not my local CBE, SBE, but the federal DBEs that we certify, we use them. Every 3 years, we have to do a triennial. We have to submit a plan to the FAA and the FTA of how our program will go for the next 3 years. This is just letting you know we got a session 1 and a session 2 coming up later in May, where we talk to existing DBEs, we talk to folks who want to be a DBE, we talk to folks who want to understand DBE, and we make sure that we're putting together a plan that we send to the FAA and the FTA separately, but we send our plan that once approved, that's how we administer the federal program for the upcoming 3 years. So we're having a triennial DBE stakeholder session, 1 and 2, later next month in May. So if you're interested in knowing more, join us. If you are a DBE, you definitely want to join us. Next slide. And Film Lauderdale. Guys, this is so important. For the traditional things we do and the traditional things, as an example, the school district do, we certify a lot of firms. But you need to understand that because we now have intentional activity about film, we're looking to get more businesses engaged in the film activity. The film office is now in this office. Everything I do is about business, especially small business. So even as we attract film, if film want to get an incentive from me, they got to use my small businesses. They got to use Broward businesses. They got to have 60% of their shoots in Broward. And then they also got to even work with an intern. Why is that important to you? Let me see in case you know someone, because they might not be on this call today. Let's say a beautician or a barber. I would never certify a beautician or a barber because, as you know, we certify based on what the county buys. Well, the county don't buy beauty. The county don't buy barbers. However, I now got the film industry. And when production comes, they need makeup. They need hair. So we want businesses in that industry to know that, hey, you don't have to get certified, but we want you to sign up on the film production chart. Because when they're coming to shoot and they need those, they're not going to find them in my directory. but they will find them in the production chart. But also for some of you construction folks, some of you accounting folks, we've also been doing transferable skills. So we had a very good session a year ago with a lot of my contractors who are helping me build that convention center. But we wanted them to know, even with that convention center, you can transfer some of those construction skills to building sets for film. So we've been doing transferable workshops. We did it for catering. We did it for seamstress. We did it for accountants. We did it for construction. So we're going to be having more. I'm sharing this because the traditional things I would certify, I'm always going to certify for the things Broward buys. But now I'm being given an opportunity for things that traditionally I don't certify. We still want businesses to be engaged, and Film Lauderdale is one of the opportunities in certain industries that we can get you in those activities. So again, you want to follow that website. You can meet with our office. My film commissioner is also called Sandy. Her name is Sandy Leiterman, and we would welcome you. Next slide. And I'm going to say thank you, but as I end, and I certainly want to thank the Broward Schools again for inviting us and allowing us to be a part of this. Guys, really check our website. We're creating more and more opportunities that go beyond the traditional certifications. I'm going to mention the Broward County Convention Center and that new hotel. So we've had a goal. We're exceeding the goal. As of this day, over $208 million has been paid to my small businesses. That's good. But what's great? Great is the fact that the Omni is also working with us now, and not just certified businesses, just regular businesses in Broward. They're trying to find vendors who can provide some services that's not traditional Omni. You know, if you go to an Omni all over the country, they look the same. But there's certain services, certain goods, certain products that they buy that are not Omni national. They want to buy that from Broward businesses. So again, go back to my website, broward.org/econdev, and you'll see the information about the Omni, and you'll be able to follow when they're going to be doing procurement on different things that have nothing to do with my small business certification. So I just wanted to throw that in to just remind you. There's so many opportunities. And though today is talking about financial, talking about capacity, you want to be in position to do business because we have a lot of business going on and we're looking for small businesses to do that business. So again, thank you for allowing us to take up some of your time today, and we appreciate the opportunity. And yes, I'll be obedient. I will take a few Q&A if there's some out there.
Yes, there are. Thank you, Sandy. Someone said, how can I get the grant for my landscaping business?
Say that again for me.
How can I get the grant for my landscaping business?
Okay, so we'll be real simple with this. Thanks for the question. You can get the grant for your landscaping business, A, if you go online. B, if you make sure you're eligible. C is when the application hits, you submit it ASAP. It's just that simple. It is going to be first come, first serve. Nope, we're not going to have 2,000 applicants. I mean, not 2,000, 2,500 being given away. It is going to have a ceiling. So that's why I'm telling people, follow my Wednesday night newsletter, go to my website. You will have the days that it's going to roll out. You will have the days of the training. You got the sample application online. You can get off of this call today, go read the sample application, pull up all your documents, and just wait for the morning that the application opens on the portal and complete it. That's how you can get the grant for your landscaping business.
The next one is, do you need to have a certain amount of employees to be certified with Broward County?
25 employees or less. A lot of our small business, so understand this, guys. If you're a business in Broward County, there's 85,000 registered businesses in my county. I know some of y'all not registered, so don't raise your hand, but it's 85,000 registered. 89% of that 85,000 have 20 employees or less. So when you go to my application, we do ask you how many employees. You don't need 10 employees to be certified. You can be just you providing a good material, service, or product. But I just want you to understand, for all the businesses we have in this county, all the different industries, 31 cities, 1,300 square miles, 14 chambers, 2 million residents, 85,000 businesses, and 89% of that number have 20 employees or less. So the majority of my businesses are small businesses.
Okay, lastly, can you give them the email that you guys have for any questions?
Yeah. So any questions, fine. You just start with my email. Perfectly fine, because someone reads my email and we'll pass it to the right person. The letter S for Sandy, the letter M for Michael, then spell the word McDonald. S.M. McDonald at Broward.org. S.M. McDonald at Broward.org. And thank you so much. Just stuck it into the chat. Thanks, Vanetta.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandy. I appreciate your time. Thank you for chiming in.
Absolutely.
All right. So next we have Althea.
Hey there. Can you hear me?
Hi, Althea.
Hi. Can y'all hear me fine? Can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear
Oh,
you.
okay. I was worried. I was
Mhm.
having issues yesterday. Oh, thank you, Diana, for including us in this partnership. First of all, I just want to say out loud and publicly, y'all, I was at an event with Diana and we just started talking and brainstorming, and this has happened. And it is all due to Diana. I want to thank you so much for all the hard work you've done, you and your team. Hooray to Jennifer
Thank
Andreu.
you, thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
amazing. This has been extraordinary, an extraordinary series. Congratulations to all of you who have joined today, who were here last time. I will not keep you long. I'm Althea Harris with the U.S. Small Business Administration office here in South Florida. We cover the 24 counties south of Orlando, and it is our role, our mission to help entrepreneurs start, grow, and succeed in business. And we do that in 4 primary ways. Number one, we provide access to capital. Sarah asked in the chat about getting access to capital. Well, I want you to know that of the 68 offices across the nation, SBA offices across the nation, this office is number 1 for 2 years in a row for SBA backed loans to small businesses. So my friends, you're in the right place at the right time if you're looking for capital for your business. The number 2 thing that we do in South Florida at SBA is we provide access to contracting through certifications. And we're talking about those in this series. Number 3, we provide access to high quality counseling, mentoring, and training, which we're doing also today. And it gives me great pleasure to let you know that when I stop talking, you're going to be hearing from Crystal Ferrari and JJ Raju, who are at the Small Business Development Center at Florida Atlantic University, and they're going to provide valuable information to you today. Lastly, as hurricane season approaches, I want you to know that SBA is the best source for long-term disaster recovery funds. And we'll be doing more programming around that soon. So this particular meeting, I think, is the most important in our series. And that's because if you cannot afford the contract you so desire, that's going to lead to disaster. If you can't comply with the regulations and pay people as you should, pay your subcontractors, that's going to lead to disaster. And if you are not able to manage one contract, it does lead to your not getting other contracts. So this is really important. And I think it's so fitting that we're having this discussion in April, which is Financial Literacy Month. So without further ado, I want to thank the FAU Small Business Development Center and Apex Accelerator for being here today. Please listen up. I cannot access the Q&A, but if you have questions for me, I'll be watching in the chat. And so without any more delay, please welcome Crystal Ferrari. Thanks, Diana. Crystal, are you there?
Yes,
Crystal.
I'm here. I'm pulling.
Okay,
I'm getting my slides up now for you.
no worries. Thank
to
you.
present. Okay, can everybody see? Is it presenting? I just want to make
Yes,
sure. Okay,
and we
great.
can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
Good
it's
morning,
up.
everybody. Thank you, Althea, for that warm welcome. I better make sure I hold up to it now. As Althea said, I'm from the SBDC by way of the Apex Accelerators. Today, we're going to talk about financial considerations in government contracting. Because, as she mentioned, the last thing you want to do is get a government contract, especially federally, and fail to deliver. Failure to delivering on a government contract can destroy your business. So it's very important to understand your business's infrastructure financially before you decide to move forward into government contracting. This is just a little bit about me. I've been in acquisitions and government contracts for a very long time, over 20 years. And, at Apex, more importantly, at Apex, what we offer is training, guidance, mentorship, resources for our clients in order to be able to better access the opportunities that are available to a small business owner. And so let's get to it. Today, like I said, we're going to talk about, yes, government contracting offers many growth opportunities for a business, but if you're not ready to handle it, then it can do the exact opposite to your business. And that's what all of these amazing agencies that are here today are trying to prevent any businesses from moving forward when you're not ready. And to offer resources to help you get ready. And financial planning is essential to that. Today's focus is going to be the key financial considerations before and during contracting that you need to consider. There are upfront costs, things to think about before. And some of these are just more time consideration because time is money in your business, as you know. It takes time to complete the certification applications and go through that process. There are many times that I have clients, especially recently, come back to me after they've begun the process and say, Crystal, look, with the political climate, should I keep doing this? And, you're talking about businesses that have under 5 employees. And my response to those clients is simply, if you can handle the bandwidth of the amount of time that it's taking you and effort where you are right now, and these are clients that are just getting started and do not have any contracts yet, and still maintain your business in the private industry, then yes. But if you feel like you cannot, then we need to step back and reconsider. I will never, ever tell a client to keep pushing forward if they're going to lose business on the other side. They can't afford, and they cannot afford to hire somebody to do one or the other, if that makes sense. You do not want to spread yourself so thin that you're losing business that you already had before you decided to undertake government contracting. The SAM registration, you cannot get federal government contracting without doing SAM registration. If you're sitting here in this series, you probably already know that. And SAM registration, if all of your paperwork is correct, can take, it's an average of about 15 days right now, I think. And that's after you have all of the paperwork, everything that you need, and it is all in alignment. And to obtain your UEI and the education you need to get your NAICS codes, register your proper NAICS codes. And that is where, and you could pay, let me say this. I'd never recommend it. I know the SBA does not recommend it. The SBDC does not recommend it. You can pay somebody to do these things for you, but these registrations are free. So please do not do that, because that's what we are all here for. That's what the SBDC is for. That's what Apex, that's what we specialize in, is helping you to get through these processes. So if you're considering paying somebody to do these certification applications for you, please do not. Third-party certifications that are accepted by some entities, they have real dollar cost associated with them. So when you are assessing what's for your business and what is not for your business, and what to go after in the moment, those are things that you have to prioritize. And maybe not go for all of the certifications at once. And that's something I believe that they're going to talk about in the next series as well. You're not going to walk in and walk out with all of your certifications. That's just not realistic. And you might not need all of them at the same time. There can be upfront investments in compliant softwares, for instance, DCAA compliant accounting systems. Something like QuickBooks is not going to be compliant with a DCAA audit. Proposal development. Again, our services at Apex, and there are various other resources available for small businesses to help you learn how to develop your proposals. But there are also a lot of costly proposal writing consultants. So it's not just time, but it's also potential consultant fees. Financial stability is very important before you step into federal government contracting and state and local contracting. The government may request financial statements or credit lines to understand that your company is stable enough to handle the line of work in which you're receiving. And you may need to scale quickly if you get awarded a large contract. Cash reserves and financial planning are critical. If you apply for a large contract and you don't have the infrastructure to maintain it and manage it, pay subcontractors, cover your overhead, supply material wise, as I heard somebody, I don't remember who it was, note earlier, it can take a while for the government to pay. You could be waiting 30 to 90 plus days sometimes to get payment from the federal government on a contract. You still have to provide work. And you still have to provide payment to your employees, your subcontractors. Those are all things that take serious consideration when deciding if you're going to move into government contracting, and also the size of the contract in which you're going to apply for. Many times I spend a lot of time educating clients on starting out smaller and then taking bigger chunks. Not only for their own business development, but but so that they can validate to the government that they're ready for that work. Because there is a lot of reporting procedures as well that come along with reporting that you are maintaining the project, the scope of the project. And here we go a little bit more about financial liquidity. Like I said, government payments often take 30 to 90 plus days. The reason for that is that all of your invoices, all of the invoices going from the origination point up to the government, the prime, the origination of the contract, have to be approved all the way through and all the way back. And so that can take time for the payment actually to get back to you. If there has been no mistakes. And by no mistakes, it could be one mark in the invoice somewhere that an agency said, oh, this isn't the way we wanted the invoice to look like. And then it has to go all the way back and be corrected. The need for working capital to cover that payroll, materials, and overhead is very important. And that's where the SBA, the SBDC and the SBA are really great to work with because they have people who specialize, they have consultants who specialize in looking at your financial assets. Payments on loans and leases, etc. Those are all things you have to consider depending on the type of business in which you have. And again, like I already said, subcontractors and vendors, etc. It is your job as the contract holder to keep the work moving forward regardless. And if you fail to provide, then it reflects on you as the contract holder. And that's the last thing that you want. That is, as Althea said, why this is so important considering your financial, your whole financial picture. And when businesses come to me, an Apex consultant, some people can get very upset when we say, well, what is your, have you really considered your business infrastructure? This is why. This is why this is such a big piece of that puzzle. It's not just you want to sell to the government and you have a product, you have access to products that the government wants. It's much larger than that. Insurance and bonding is also huge, especially in construction, performance and payment bonds. Liability insurance becomes higher depending on the type of work that you're doing. Your cost of premiums and financial vetting for surety companies. And bonding requires very strong financials and requires auditing. I apologize, I keep getting pop-ups. Requires audited financials, which can also become costly. I can give you an example where I worked with a very strong construction company, multi-state working construction company, had educational, worked for the state of New York, did educational, did construction for the New York Department of Education. But when he moved his company to Florida, he could not get bonded for a higher amount for the federal government contract that he was seeking and was in the running for. And that opportunity he missed because of that. So ensuring that you sit with somebody from the SBA, the SBDC, and really have your financials discussed and have relationships with your banks That's a huge piece of it as well, is building those relationships with your banker, so that when you need to have these discussions, you can have these discussions. Also, taxes are a huge one. I think something that a lot of people don't think about, because different types of contracts can be taxed differently. It affects your tax reporting, depending on where the materials are coming from, where they're going to, etc. And some have potential for multi-jurisdictional taxation. And you have to be able to plan for how that revenue is going to be recognized and taxed ahead of time. So I highly recommend that you get educated on that type of information as well. Again, and you know, I'm going to keep plugging it here. That is what your SBDC, your Apex consultants, the difference is SBDC is there for your, truly there more for the basic business infrastructure, and Apex is there for contracting specific. We specialize in your state, local, federal contracting information, guidance, and resources. So government contracting does offer great potential, but it does require strong financial management. And without that financial management, then we hate to see businesses succeed by getting their contract and then fail by not being able to maintain it because they did not think about that financial consideration. And this proper planning, you all sitting in this seminar today, shows that you are looking at the right things, considering the right stuff. Now just that follow through is going to be what separates you from some other companies. This planning can position you for that success. And again, if you need more assistance, Florida Apex is here for you. The SBA is amazing, and so is the SBDC. So I can't recommend these organizations enough. Are there any questions? I'm gonna try to get it
Yes,
up.
hold on
so I
one
can
second.
see. I know I went a little fast. I just wanted to make sure we
Yeah,
had
let
time
me-
for questions.
Populating on my end. 1 second. Able to read them to you. What does bonding mean? Is it a certification that you have sufficient business capital? Crystal? Crystal?
What? I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What does bonding mean? Is it a certification that you have sufficient business capital? Is that a question? That question was like 3 minutes ago. Did you discuss bonding?
I did discuss bonding. Bonding is a type of insurance that or type of coverage that provides financial protection in the event of non-performance by a contractor or service provider. Where I see bonding in my niche, where I see bonding really come into play is construction. I don't see everybody need bonding, but I see things like construction need bonding. Usually when I have a client that needs bonding assistance, I send them to the SBDC because they have a lot of connections in that arena.
Also,
So
guys,
not
just to
every service provider needs bonding. Not in my
Also-
experience.
Yeah, and SBA has a bonding program. I'll put the link to it in the chat. So who's ever asking that question, you can read up on it a little bit, and you can also find bonding agents who participate in SBA's bonding program. Thanks.
Can you share the link to complete the SAM certification, please? And I guess they need the link for the NAIC, the NICS codes as
Sure.
well.
Sure, we can pop those in the chat. Or JJ, were you going to talk about that?
And I saw somebody ask about Apex. If you go to floridaapex.org, you will see all the services offered by Apex, and you will see a tab that says request for consulting. And if you go through there, it will bring you to you'll be able to do, it's called an electronic request for consulting. Once you put that in, then you will then be matched with your local consultant, which everybody here is Broward County, correct?
Yeah.
So it will be either JJ or myself. And once we get the alert, we will then reach out to you for an appointment. So that's floridaapex.org, FLAPEX.org. I think it was on, let me go back. It's on a slide here. There it is.
That's the email for questions. And for
That somebody asked, how do they become involved with Apex? Thank you, Althea.
Okay.
Somebody just asked about
see.
micro grants. I think Althea, you probably have the information for that. Oh, that was 35 minutes ago. Mine's coming up delayed, I think.
And that was something Sandy McDonald offered during the Broward County presentation. Diana, I guess
yes.
Now this is being recorded, and the recording will be made available later, right? To all those who registered.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, they'll be uploaded on YouTube, and I will send everybody a link of the whole webinar.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal. I appreciate you coming on and being available to talk
Thank you,
about
Crystal.
yeah.
Of course, anytime.
Does anybody have any questions for Althea or Crystal? We have 2 minutes to spare.
Oh, that's right. They're all doing it in the Q&A, right?
Yeah, they're back and forth. I'm trying to shift back and forth between the chats to just see. Somebody just asked a question. Hold on. Okay, thank you. Need to just answer the questions. Okay. All right, so we're good.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Diana. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. I definitely appreciate you. Okay, the next person is Vincent Jones. Go ahead, Vincent.
Can you hear me now? All right. My name is Vincent Jones again. I'm the certification manager here at Economic Development and Diversity Compliance Department, EDDC. Again, we're so happy to have you join part 2 of the 3-part series on which we're helping small businesses become certified with Broward County Public Schools. In our last presentation, we discussed certification requirements, certification types, and the support documents regarding each category. Each category requires income limit or thresholds which we also have to check or review in order to become a certified firm. That being said, today we have we were delighted to have JJ Rahu from Apex Accelerators from FAU, Florida Atlantic University, which will be able to help and answer some of your questions regarding our financial requirements. This is what I'm excited about, guys. We mentioned this last time as well. Our B2G Now certification management system. We're going live May 5th. You will receive a link to begin the certification process. And we highly recommend that you upload your documents in the B2G Now system. That will give us enough time to review your documents. Hopefully we can certify you before our next meeting, which will be on May 22nd. So again, highly recommended. We really encourage you, once you receive that link, to start the initial process. Hopefully you'll be able to upload all of your documents so that we can review them. And if by chance you are unable to navigate through the system, we will be here on the 22nd of May to assist you any way we possibly can. I like to always say the phrase, we're here to help you. So don't feel like you cannot give us a call or stop by the office for any guidance that you need, okay? Contacting us. I think Diana put this on the screen a little bit earlier this morning. This is how you can contact us: by our website, email address, phone number, and of course our address. And again, we're here to help you be successful. Give us a call, stop by the office if you need any assistance. I'm always available. We're looking forward for that, for you to for receiving your applications for certifications, okay? That being said, please help me welcome JJ Rahu from Apex Accelerators. Take it away, JJ.
Thank you, Vincent. Let me just see if I can share my screen here. Oh, okay. You're able to see my screen. Good. Okay, everybody. Well, it's so great to actually be here to be a part of just tailing off this this event today. And the goal is to give everybody a sense of positioning your company for certification with the EDDC at Broward County Public Schools, as well as you heard from my colleague Crystal, who has a huge specialization in federal contracting. So you're going to do work with this the federal government. And then you heard from Sandy and Kirk, who are just extraordinary supporters of getting county work. And so at each level of government, we want you to do work with local government, state government, and the federal government. And so that's what the Apex Accelerator is here to do. And our role is we're really just huge cheerleaders of agencies like Broward County Public Schools and the EDDC, and what they do in certifying companies and help you get to that next step in terms of contracting with small government agencies like the school district. In so many cases, the Apex Accelerator, our goal is to kind of help you find your way. And so that's part of our role. We're really here. We're the largest network of consultants across the state, and then the Apex Accelerator is housed within each of the SBDC small business development centers across the state. And so the Apex Accelerator, our focus is government contracting. So I'm like so pleased to see more than 100, like 160, almost 200 people on the call today. So many people are interested in government contracting. Some of you are looking at financing. Some of you are just trying to learn. All of it's good. This is the best place to be, as Jennifer said at the beginning. So just to give you a quick idea, just so that we can give you a sense of who we are. So quick commercial. So the Small Business Development Center is out of Florida Atlantic University. This is our team, and our SBDC consultants and colleagues, they're business consultants in the area of helping people with their startups. We have digital marketing and marketing expertise on the team. If you are looking to work and get an SBA guaranteed loan or financing, our financing consultants help people get loans, bonding, as well as lines of credit. And our finance consultants have current relationships with not only the larger banks, the mid-sized banks, but some of the small community banks as well as credit unions. So we're trying to get you positioned in terms of making sure your balance sheet, which is what today is about, just thinking through your financial positioning. So our goal is to make sure the balance sheet of your company, the income statement is solid, right? And so we're cheerleading you, we're pushing you forward, we're consulting, we're mentoring, we're coaching. And so we also have consultants on the export and international side. So if you want to do business with government, you want to do business in the private sector, you want to do business in foreign markets, you want to export, we've got consultants in that area. So Crystal and I are the Apex Accelerator. So we're this small group within the umbrella of this SBDC. And our goal is, as our SBDC consultants are actually working with each side of your business, then when you're really positioned for government contracting, then our goal is myself and or Crystal, depending on what your strategies. Let's say you're going to federal first. Let's say you're going after state of Florida first. Let's say you're going after the county, or you're going after the school district. We'll review those solicitations with you. We'll help you look at all the formal solicitations, the package. We'll help you work through the certification. We're here to make you look good. And all of our work is confidential, so no one knows that you're working with us. So I can guarantee you, so many of your competitors are working with us, and we are their secret sauce, and you don't know that. They just look great because that's our goal, is to make sure they look great. All right. And so these are the categories where we're helping companies. So we're helping on the capital access, helping you assist you with your loan package. We help do valuations, financial projections, all the way into cash flow management. And then we start thinking about marketing your company, thinking about your branding. We'll review your website. We'll look at your social media. And then we start digging into your actual organizations. And it doesn't matter if you're a 50-person employee company, or you're a solo operator, you're a sole proprietor, or you're a single member LLC. Like, we're working with teams and individuals across the spectrum. And so our goal is to help you get out of your way and help you navigate against your competition and move forward. So that's how the SBDC and the Apex Accelerator work together. And then, myself and Crystal, we do direct work and trying to help you kind of think through the government contracting process. So the EDDC asked me to kind of go into a small part of their certification process, just to kind of make sure that there's some clarity in terms of the financial side. So I pulled from some of their eligibility documents, and I just pulled some highlights just to kind of give you a sense of like what's the major highlights about their certification that you need to know. So the EDDC, when they're certifying your company, that certification is valid for 3 years. And so the really good thing about, and I hope my Broward County colleagues, I don't want you to think I'm downgrading you, but the school districts, all of them, as well as Broward County Public Schools, they will certify companies in all of South Florida. Okay. So not only does that include Broward County, but it means Miami-Dade and Palm Beach counties. And the other 2 school districts do the same thing. And so this is really powerful, because it gives the school district the best of the best vendors, as well as the best of the best certified vendors. Okay. But you have to have a significant business presence in one of these 3 counties to be certified with the EDDC. Okay. And then as far as your staff, your full-time staff, your part-time staff, your contract employees, 50% of them need to be domiciled in South Florida, between Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade. And their role has to be substantive. So when the EDDC certification analyst or certification reviewer, when they're looking at your application and they're looking where your staff is, they want to make sure your staff is actually working here. Most of them are working here. At least half of them are working here, and they have a substantive commercial useful function as part of your team. And so this is a way to protect our certified vendors at the school district from unfair competition from outside of South Florida. And so we, as you can imagine, we want to protect our employers. And I say we, I'm not part of Broward County Public Schools, but here's the cheerleader side of me. I'm like, I'm supportive of our employers, and many of you are employers. And so we want to make sure that if you're getting certified with the school district, just be mindful that 50% of your staff needs to be here, because we want to see employment growth here in our region. Okay. And so just going back on location again, so I'm going to read this because I think it's important the way it's written. So a location utilized solely as a post office box, mail drop, or telephone message center, or any combination thereof, with no other substantial work function, shall not be construed to constitute as a significant business presence. And so this is important. Like that's kind of written by lawyers working with the school district. But the idea here is that we want your location in South Florida, especially here in Broward County, but your operation needs to be an actual location. It's, so it's important as you are going through the application that you might be working out of a flex space, and it's fine if you're actually present in that workspace potentially. Okay. But if you're just using a mailbox or a virtual space where it's not really you might have some challenges in the eligibility. So I want you to work with your EDDC certification reviewer just to make sure that you're on the up and up on that particular aspect of it. Okay. So when you go through the EDDC's eligibility requirements, I pull this table just so you can kind of see this. And so they have 5 specific certifications. So they have the emerging business enterprise, the EBE. Okay. And so annual receipts up to 4 million and 50 employees or less. So this is, I think this is a very novel and innovative aspect of Broward County Public Schools. This is the first time I'm seeing an EBE in the state, so I'm really happy to see this. This was very novel. And so the idea is that the school district wants to really identify growing startup firms, growing business enterprises, and kind of help you at what we call supplier development. And so they will certify you at that stage. And so it's on you to kind of, work through the system to get as much help as you can, work with the SBDC and the Apex Accelerator to kind of build that growth. But at the school district of Broward County, you can get certified as a smaller company. Okay. Then you have the SBE, the small business enterprise, which is the gold standard of certification at the local level. And so annual receipts are up to 7.5 million. So you can take full advantage of the SBE certification till you grow up to 7 million. And so that is phenomenal. So there's a lot of companies, that will graduate after 7.5 million, but you can continue to work, get contracts or get awarded contracts and grow up and stay within this program at Broward County Public Schools up to the point where your average sales exceed 7.5 million. So the school district has a certification for veteran business enterprise. I love seeing this. Not all supplier diversity programs have a VBE. It's great to see this. And so if you're a veteran and you own, manage, and control a company, you can also be certified with the school district. As you can see, most of the annual revenues, the dollar amounts are pretty sizable. So 7.5 million. So you could work with a school district for many, many years. Okay. Now we're going to move the fourth certification. It's worded kind of uniquely, so it says white women-owned business enterprises, and so it's specific to that because there are studies that have pinpointed that where white women-owned firms have certain specific challenges in the marketplace, and so as part of diversity studies who have looked through this, to particularly support this disenfranchised group, there's a certification for white-owned women firms. And so, as you can see, it's also in the 7.5 million. Okay. And this falls under the MBE, the Minority Business Enterprise, which is the fifth one certification. I want to pull this aside just for some of you on the call, just to make sure that you're familiar with it, because it's a little bit different. So, so if you're African American, if you are African American, you own a firm, you're Hispanic American, Native American, Asian American, and you could pursue the MBE certification. And so what's unique about this is that the annual revenues is a little bit different in terms of the eligibility. So I'll kind of go over this. And so I have sent my presentation to Diana and Vincent. So because I have put the a link in here in this part of the slides, but if you are getting certified as an MBE, the size standard actually is following the federal government's SBA size standards. And it's specific to what we call NAICS codes, they're just industry codes. So if you think of, and I borrowed this from Vincent's presentation from part one, you have industries like architecture, engineering, construction, goods and services, professional services. So the federal government has different NAICS codes for each of these different areas. I mean, there are hundreds of these. And so what the school district has done is they've given some room to the minority business enterprises to not be capped under one cap, but potentially based on different industries, you could have a very different size standard. So, like, for example, the one given here, so if the NAICS code size standard is 8 million, then the school district size cap is 50% of that. So it'd be 4 million, right? And so the idea here is to kind of flex with different industries and certify within those categories. That might be as clear as mud. So I wish I could have said that a little bit different. But what you want to see is that the school district is really, as part of supplier development, they're trying their best to kind of work with different industries because they see different contracts come out. And so they want to make sure that they're a little bit more customized in terms of the size of companies per industry. Okay, the EDDC review, certification review staff, they'll help you with this as you're getting certified. I will walk this through if you're working with me on the government contracting consulting side. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper. Okay, so as part of when you complete your certification application with the EDDC, there are supporting documents. One of the major parts of the packet is your federal income tax returns. Okay, so each of the certification evaluators, they will be reviewing your taxes. So for instance, in this case, it's going to be the last 3 years. So you're going to have 2022, 2023, 2024, and your certification reviewer is going to actually evaluate those taxes pretty seriously. Okay, we want to make sure we're dealing with certified vendors who have, obviously they're paying their taxes, we're government, but also we want to make sure that you're doing the most basic part of your compliance, which is complying with federal taxes. Okay, so what the school district has done is if you didn't submit your taxes yesterday or last night, before 12 o'clock, and you filed an extension before for more time this year, your certification reviewers they'll ask for your balance sheet and your income statement for in the interim. So and they're hoping that they're going to see your federal tax returns for 2024. Okay, so but they're willing to kind of give you some room since you did file an extension. So this is something that the EDDC wanted me to kind of just make sure that I provide some clarity. And so when because there are several different types of business structures. So across this call, I saw several different types of companies. I saw photographers, I saw service companies. And so you might have a different legal structure, right? So when you incorporate with SunBiz with the state of Florida, you might have incorporated as an LLC or as a partnership. You might have just done a DBA and did not incorporate, so you're a sole proprietor. Some of you might have incorporated as an LLC, and then you're also filing with the federal government as an S Corp. Some of your companies might be C Corps, okay? So there's different legal structures for different legal strategies. None of us are lawyers, so we never give legal advice, but we know that, especially the certification reviewers at the EDDC, they know that you're coming in with different legal strategies and different business strategies. So if you're in this green section, and so if you're a sole proprietor and you just have a DBE with with the state of Florida's SunBiz, right? When you are submitting your documentation, you're going to submit your personal 1040 and include your Schedule C, okay? And so I just want to, this is the 2022, but if you completed like your taxes yesterday or the last few months, like you're familiar with this, and this is the Schedule C. So it's obviously, it would be all filled out, and you could see where the evaluators will begin at looking at your annual receipts here, your gross receipts, okay? And so this is also true for the LLCs, which most of you are probably LLCs. And so your certification reviewer at the EDDC will ask for your personal 1040 tax returns as well as your Schedule C. So make sure that Schedule C is in there. Most people have it all as one packet, and so you'd submit it. I encourage people to block out your personal information, like your social security number, things like that, when you submit. But certainly make sure that that whole packet is together. Now on the S Corp and C Corp side, so now you are legally structuring your company for growth, and you're getting tax advantage. So now you have tax advantages with the S Corp and C Corp, and you're also sending the signal out into the marketplace, both government America and corporate America, that you're willing to do business at a higher level. Then your certification reviewers are going to expect to see your federal income tax returns, okay? And so then included with your federal packet, again, anything identifying information remove, or block out, but include your Schedule K1 or G. And it looks like this. So on the right, some of you, when you fill this out, let's say you use an attorney, an accountant or CPA or bookkeeper, or you did yourself on TurboTax, like you might not always be familiar with the K1, but your certification reviewers, like when they look at gross receipts, they always go to the Schedule K1. And so it's really critical, because all of the owners of your company, whether it's member owners like the LLC or owners like in the incorporated firms, each owner is going to have a separate Schedule K1s, because when you're completing this part of your taxes, you're going to distribute some of your income to each of these owners based on your current agreements with the owners and partners of your company. So the EDDC, their certification staff is going to review the K1 with a lot of seriousness, in addition to the rest of the tax packet. But this matters because we want to make sure, I'll spill the secret, like they want to make sure that you're representing yourself, who owns the company, is clear. And so that it's really clear that they, because their goal is to protect the certification pool from companies that are not eligible to be certified. This is one of the tools they do that to protect the entire certification vendor pool. Okay. So I think I was better than clear on mud on that one, but I hope the colors I use here could give you a little bit of differentiation because this is such an important part of your certification packet with the Broward County Public Schools. So they just wanted me to kind of just dig in here, because this is what I do with the Apex Accelerators. I dig in and make sure that people provide good packets and good RFP responses, good certification applications to each of the agencies. So I was happy to do that. I'm a big fan of the school district. So if you have questions, I can talk for days, but I certainly will answer any questions that you have.
Yes. Hold on, let me go to the chat.
Even Diana agrees I can talk for days.
Well, we have 30 minutes to answer questions. Is Althea still on as well? Okay. What if you're a brand new business established in 2025 without prior year's tax returns? I know it's
So,
more.
so you need to be, I think, 1 year with the school district. Is that correct? I think Vincent probably could answer that.
Yes, you should be in business for 1 year.
Okay. So Tiffany, your first year, we want you to generate revenue so that, some of the things that you heard today from Crystal and Kirk, you want to build your financial position so that if you want to, go after government contracts, there's, between being put on notice to mobilize after you win the award and when you get paid on it, there's a space there. And so we want you to be financially stable. So that first year, we want you to position for government contracting, but not necessarily go after government contracting in the first year. So that's why you'll see some of these certification programs, not all of them, some of them will not certify you until a year in because it's a testing period. We want to make sure you get through business boot camp, right?
Okay, the next question. How many years of federal tax returns for S Corps?
The same, 3 years.
3 years?
Yep.
Okay.
The last
And
3 years. The last 3
Is that the
years.
same thing for the SBA?
Althea is nodding, so I'm gonna let
Yes,
her.
yes, sorry. Had to
That's okay.
find my mouse and the mute button. Yes, I mean, listen. Let me just say, listen, the federal marketplace is no nice little playground, okay?
Mm.
So you have to be ready to enter that space. It is dog eat dog, but you can succeed there. And so I always say, put your big toe in the water at the local level, right? Get some experience, get some, understand the vocabulary of contracting, and then you can graduate to the federal space. So for us, keep in mind, small there are about 34 million small businesses in America by our standard. Our small standard is gigantic compared to the school, to the county. So it is a place to graduate to. It is not a place to really start. But you can, but you will have to be ready for that. It's really a tough marketplace.
For both, for 2024 taxes, is it okay to show, like to start the process essentially and show that you have an extension and still?
Yes, please do that. Yeah, because that'll evidence to the certification staff that you did do an extension. So you'll submit that and say that, but do follow up with them and provide the balance sheet or the income statement. So.
Okay, the next question I'll answer. Hi, everyone. Just a friendly reminder that the April 25th date has been canceled and we are only going to have an in-person May 22nd. As of right now, we are planning to do another session for all of you, which is going to go over each software platform. So just to make sure that everybody knows how to use the platform, how to register, and how to chime in. We're just coming up with a date. Once we have a date, I'll email all the information to everyone for you guys to register. But as of right now, the April in-person date for SBA, Broward County Public Schools, and Broward County has been canceled. For startup businesses, what does a good balance sheet look like?
For startup
High in
businesses?
equity and assets. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually a really good question, right? So if you have money in the business, that's really great to show on your balance sheet. So they have, it shows that you have skin in the game. And your certification reviewer is not going to discriminate on the fact that your balance sheet is, is zeros all the way up and down, right? But when they see that you've put, you've the owner of the company has put money into retained earnings or put in the balance sheet. That's just helpful because then they know that if they're sending an event to you and they want you to attend because maybe Broward County schools, like their buyers are there, they know that, hey, you're willing, you're hungry, you put your money in, and they know, okay, this person is willing to fight for it. So it's not all storm clouds for startups. That's not the idea here. The idea here is to, keep the dream alive. And that first 2 years of building a company is rough. So I've been on that side of it, so I know. So I've got at least one business failure that it was tough. So some of us certification reviewers, we know what it's like. We've been there, so we understand. So, but as a startup, you want to think about assets, right? So what assets do you want to hold in your company that's going to make your company, even in startup phase, actually be it's going to set you apart, right? And so maybe you don't want to do all lease equipment. Maybe you want to buy a little bit of equipment and also have cash and intangibles too. So these are all good. For certification reviewers, we just want to see you have a balance sheet. That alone is something we like to see, because it's just a part of the evolution of as a business, as an entrepreneur. Moving from entrepreneur to small business, that evolution is when you get into the income statement, you get the QuickBooks, you get a balance sheet. Like that evolution is helpful for all of us who move from entrepreneur to small business owner. Okay. So
Another person's, this is for you. Can my company get an appointment with you? I've been trying to get with Apex for a while.
oh no. Okay, wait, let me put my email in the chat. Oh my goodness.
This is for Bill.
Okay, Bill, let's talk. I'm so sorry. I have so many people coming to us. So a lot of our, and I don't know, so a lot of how we operate at FAU is we have a lot of companies go through the SBDC because the Apex Accelerator, we don't do a lot of business consulting. We do government contract consulting. So we kind of lane ourselves. And so the SBDC covers all those other categories that I shared. Like I said, balance sheet today, I never get to talk about balance sheets because that's just not, part of government contracting. So it's possible, make sure that if you're working with SBDC consultant, and you're starting to position yourself, have them collaborate with me. So I'll jump in on meetings with your SBDC consultant. And even I'll do some, intro stuff, right, that you've learned about today, just to kind of get you moving. So.
And that's the beauty, Diana, of working with the small business development centers, because the Apex Accelerator staff is there with them, and you can combine the resources,
Yes.
Work with JJ and someone to help you maybe get a line of credit so you can afford to do the work, right? Working with the financial consultant to make sure your balance sheet looks like it should, and before you apply for that line of credit so you can demonstrate that you can afford the loan even. So and a marketing strategy for the other business line that you have that's not related to government contracting. So it's all around a great resource that business owners can access at all times.
If you're a brand new company that established in 2025, does that mean we can't get certified right now?
Not with the school district or Broward County Public Schools, not yet. So this is your build out phase. But there are other local certifications where, so you want to think of the school district, Broward County, like this is a very large budget agency, right? So it's challenging for them to do supplier development for companies 0 to 1 year, right? Whereas you might have smaller agencies that have a supplier diversity program where they'll certify companies, right from the get-go because the budget is much, much smaller. Does that make sense? So as part of the Apex, what Vincent did is he talked to you about B2G Now, which is an excellent software. But he talked about Demand Star, both in the first part and he talked about it today. So if you're meeting with me, I'll just hammer Demand Star. We'll look for every government contract out there for you so that and we'll even look at awarded contracts so you can kind of prepare. So that's the perfect thing to do in your 0 to 1 because it positions you to see prior awarded contracts, see your competitors. And so I'm always about relationships and paperwork. You know, we got to get the paperwork done, but paperwork doesn't have to be the first thing. Let's build the business so that we can go after the paper when we need to go after the paperwork.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Vanetta, are you able to answer that for Broward County? If you just started your taxes in 2025, are you able to get certified with Broward County? No. Well, Althea, SBA, it's
Yes.
for everyone, so.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so glad JJ's here and said what he said. Okay. So, and I said what I said about the federal marketplace. Let me put some dollars to it. Okay.
Yeah.
The federal government is like an $800 billion marketplace. If you haven't done business with anybody, it's going to be very hard for you to get certified at the federal level. You have no track record of success. And the federal government cares about that. We care that you know what you're doing, because the last thing we want to do is give you a contract you cannot do. It will crush you. And so it's really important to, again, put your big toe in the water at the local level, gain some efficiency, put your infrastructure in place, build out your business,
Yes.
refine your offerings, perfect your craft. Okay, so that having been said, there is little like sliver that you can enter through if you have been successful in this arena, but maybe for somebody else. But you're going to have to be very compelling to get past the certifiers in terms of, to get that federal certification. So I would say, again, stick with the local level and then build your way up to the federal marketplace. The federal marketplace isn't going anywhere, because like I like to say and make a joke about is we don't make anything at the federal level. We accept decisions and policies and PowerPoints. Okay, so we need people, businesses, to supply us with computers, clean the offices, do the landscaping, build the courthouse. Federal employees aren't going to do that. So we're always going to need you to deliver goods and services to us. So gain some strength and those relationships that JJ talked about, because on the strength of relationships, you can partner and get a federal contract. On the strength of relationships, you can be a subcontractor on a federal contract, which is going to make it better for you when you try to go for that contract yourself. Partnering and being related helps you when you do get that prime contract to have subcontractors to help you with the work. So there's a lot more involved in just wanting a government contract. And that's kind of what we tried to lay out here today.
Okay, the next one is the expectation that the tax return represents profit, or is financial viability determined by bank records? Any concern for years where the company operated without profit?
So normally you won't see in school district of Broward County Public Schools or other agencies where they ask for bank statements. I think the NMSDC, the National Minority Supplier Development Council, like they will ask for bank statements because that's a private certification for their MBE, but that's not something you'll see often from any of the public certifications. So it's an important question you're asking. Are you going to be dinged if you don't have you don't have earnings? That's one of those questions where it really is in the eye of the beholder, right? So each agency is going to look at that different. So I couldn't give you like this common view. So I've worked at the school district in Miami-Dade. I've worked at Palm Beach Schools. I've worked at Palm Beach County. So I've experienced different diversity and supplier development, and I really have seen a diversity of views. So if I would want you to work with the SBDC, let us put our umbrella around you so that we can focus on you generating revenue, so that year over year you're showing growth or you're showing stable revenue, so that when you come to an agency, whether it's something as large as Broward County Public Schools or you're coming to the city of Miramar, right? Which their points of view of how they are looking at this is going to be a little bit different, right? And so we want you to put your best foot forward. And so I know you want me to answer that, to say no, they won't worry about it. But it's each agency is going to have a different point of view. Sometimes you have different points of view on the certification review staff. So I remember even my own former colleagues, like we would kind of look, some of us were a little bit tighter and some of us were a little bit more compassionate, but we didn't want to risk our jobs either on being too compassionate, and we also didn't want to be too tight where we're sending good quality certifiable vendors away too. So you do have to kind of get a feel for your certification reviewer of, of how they're looking at things. So if I say certification is a really good training about Broward in government America, because you get a chance of like submitting documents and cultivating a relationship with your certification reviewer. That's like your first step. Because then after you go after the buyer in that agency, and then you go after decision makers in that agency, you go after end users. Like your certification reviewers, they're not gatekeepers, but they're kind of like they're the first. Like that's when you're approaching the house, but then you got to get past them and get in the house, right? And so
Thank
I
you.
used to do door-to-door sales many years ago, so you get the idea. So
Thank you, JJ. Kirk, I was told you're back on.
hey,
Kirk with
Kirk.
Broward.
Hey, I
Yes.
am.
Okay. Thank you, Kurt. We
Yeah, I
had
was
a
having some
question
technical difficulties
earlier.
earlier.
It's okay. It's okay. We had a question earlier. They wanted to know clarity on if they're just a business that just started within a year, are they able to get certified with Broward County?
Yes.
Yes.
Short
So
and sweet.
within.
Oh,
Yeah.
so Broward County's
okay.
open. Okay.
Okay. So to answer that question, yes, for Broward County. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. The other question, once again, this is for everyone. If you are a photographer and you want to get certified with the district, do you think that there's benefits in becoming certified as a photographer? And are there opportunities for that for each entity? I think.
Well, I heard what I understood Sandy McDonald to say early on was something about the film industry. So maybe you could go back and listen to this on YouTube. Towards the beginning of the session, he talked about certified firms intersecting with the film industry. So maybe
What
that could be.
what kind of photography? Is it still photography or
It just says I'm pursuing a career in photography and just curious to see obtaining a certification through the district and what benefits and opportunities will I have as a photographer. I mean, for me, I could speak on Broward behalf. Like there's lots of events. There's so many schools. I don't know how many schools. Each school has an event. So I believe each school is going to need a photographer for the holiday parties, for events. Becoming certified would be perfect for you to get in that pool, and you could bid to be a photographer for one of the schools or for just the district overall. So I do think there's a benefit within the school board of Broward County. I could say that on our end.
and there is I'm sorry.
I suggest if you have interest in becoming a photographer to pursue that. And we've had contracts that have been listed on Demand Star for photography in the school year pictures for the students. Companies have been awarded contracts, and also we can actually pair you off with the purchasing agents who is more familiar about the contract. So before you even pursue certification, feel more free to give me a call so I can actually connect you with the purchasing agent so they can talk to you about that particular contract.
So,
And also generally, if you guys are looking for information on what the county has to offer, you can just go to the Broward.org, right? And everything is searchable there. There's a particular landing page that's what the county is buying, what Broward is buying. And it's not an exhaustive list, of course, but there's a great deal of information there at your fingertips. And this just goes back to what I said as far as, the time to do your research. It's available there because it's all public information. You just have to go in and search for it.
I'm sorry. Thank you, guys. I'm looking for next question.
I saw one about competition. I don't know if they're.
Yeah, go ahead. I saw something pop up too. I'm just trying to filter between the Q&A and chat.
Oh yeah, you got on both sides. Sorry.
Yeah, Stephen asked, how do you compete with a business that already does business with the school in the same field as
Oh,
you?
that's a question.
Oh, it's a great question. I'm biting at the chomp on that. Althea,
Go
I'm
for it.
gonna jump in
Yeah.
first. Okay.
Yeah, do it.
So the way you want to look at certification and the way you want to look at government contracting is if you're a musician, and you were in band, you don't want to be in third chair, you want to be in second chair. You don't want to be in second chair, you want to be in first chair. Just like Kirk was telling his daughter, I was almost jumped out of my seat because I'm like, that's exactly how you want to look at that competition. Right. What competition? Okay. Right. So here's what we do at the Apex Accelerator. I do a lot of competitive information. I just give it to you. I see who I show you your competitors. There's a ton of them, especially in your own field, right? Some of these competitors, they want to keep eating at the same trough. Are you able to elbow them out? So when you listen to Kirk, he talked about your pricing. Your pricing is your way to compete. And then if you're doing a formal proposal, are you giving a distinct advantage to that agency of why they should pick you? So knowing your competition and knowing how good they are allows you to formulate your bid response, or it allows you to communicate with the buyer or the end user in ways that you can be more compelling. Okay. So competition, it's actually a better problem to have, because in some cases, some companies, like, they don't know if the government actually buys what they do. If you have competitors, that means the government buys that, right? So then the question is, how can you be like Kobe Bryant? How can you separate from the competition? In some cases, you can't. So then maybe that competitor becomes your prime. So now they become a temporary friend, a temporary partner. You're like, hey, you keep beating me on these bids. Can we do work together? And they're like, hell no, I'm not doing work with you. Or they'll just they'll just ghost you. Fine. But each of your competitors there's so much rich information, because what's great about the public sector is you can do public records requests and look at all of the awarded work and figure out, okay, here's the list of who won, and a lot of agencies tell you how much they won by. That's even excellent. So you actually know what your price was compared to everybody else. In some cases, did you give responsive pricing? So in some cases, you might have a group of pricing that's very similar, and then somebody threw a price like way high, and some prices put a price that's way low. Some agencies say, hey, we can throw out the outliers. Some agencies love for you to low bid, right? So you got to know the feel for each agency. So I love the question. And I hope you would work with the SBDC and the Apex Accelerator, because Kirk and Vaughn, like, they are here to just, in Althea, like, they're here to, like, push the message out to get certified, do business with the government. But there's a certain amount of technical assistance they're not allowed to do, because that means that they're favoring one vendor over the other. So you want to use Florida Atlantic University, use us to help you do that research. Because I've been on Kirk's side, and it's frustrating because he wants to say certain things, but he just can't say it. He just cannot say that you sucked, right? He can't say that. He can't say that your proposal stunk, right? So do not, when you see competition, don't back off.
Right. And I wrote in the chat, let's talk about pricing. Listen, again, this is about financial considerations in government contracting. Okay. So JJ talked about the outliers. Okay. If you bid too high, okay, no big deal. But if you bid too low and you get the contract,
yes,
you end up short. You
Could
end up in the hole. You could
Yes.
end up in the red. That is
Yes.
not where you want to be. Let me tell you something. I don't care what government you deal with, they
Yeah.
all have more money than you. Do not give the government a break, per se, on your bid. Okay, you've got to know how to price your product. The Apex Accelerator can help you with that. If and price your product and service, because you cannot continue to unknowingly, unwittingly give away your profits. Now, I will say this: if you know it at the front part of your brain, I am doing this on purpose to get my foot in the door. I know I'm low bidding and this contract is going to cost me, I don't know, net $2,000, $5,000. And you can afford that loss so that you can get to know people, so that they can get to know you, so that you can deliver excellently, on budget, on time, all that good stuff. That's one thing. But don't give away your profit without a strategy.
Well
And
done.
you just, because you're not paying attention or you didn't know. No. There's a way to know so that you can compete well.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what JJ and Althea just said, it's public information. On
Yeah.
the Broward County website, you broward.org, you look for the purchasing button, go to the bottom, and you'll see open solicitations there. So one of the things you can do, you can click on that button, and it gives you a list, right, of the solicitations that are there. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of a game here. You've got a couple of options. You could review the solicitation, right? You can see all the vendors that have requested information about that solicitation, right? So if you're a small business and you see all these large primes on there, you can reach out to them individually, introduce yourself. This is me. I see you're interested in this solicitation, and I'm a small vendor. These are my capabilities. That's one way. Further down on the bottom of that, there's a section where you can add yourself as a prospective business, because with Broward County, and I'm not sure about Dade, and Broward County has something special where they set aside goals for small business, for county business, whether it be 10, 15, 20, 30% of that contract. Meaning if you're a small business and a prime snaps that contract, they are required contractually to give 30% of that business to a small business, right? It's 30% of that, right? So they may have small businesses that they work with all the time. They may not, right? But they can't be successful in fulfilling that contract without subcontracting, right? So you can go and you can stick your name on there, says, listen, this is my business, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I'm interested in being a subcontractor on that contract. Or you can reach out to all of these prime vendors that are asking for information, because some of them may have, they're in your same position, right? They're trying to get the opportunity.
Yes.
They may have relationships already with small business. They may not, right? So if that's part, and then what that does is it gets you out there and it gets you on the radar for some of these large businesses, right? Once you get in as a subcontractor, then you can familiarize yourself with the inner workings of the contracts and working with the county and doing those type of things. But there's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. All right. So just do your research, ask questions, right? You say you don't want to feel dumb about asking a question, ask the question. Because what I've learned throughout my years is I can be suffering silently. And I tell my child, don't suffer in silence, right?
Mm-hmm.
You never know who hears you and says, hey, I went through that and this is what I did, right? There's too much at stake for you to suffer in silence, right? And I'm sure there's, I don't know how many people are on the 165. There's there's got to be at least 5 people on here that have the same question you have. At least.
Yeah. Somebody else had to ask, Kirk, is the website to start their certification process, is it still broward.org?
That's the landing page. That's the county website.
Page.
But you can go
Okay.
to purchasing, and from there you can drill down to certifications on the bottom of that purchasing website. There's some buttons here. You can click on it. It'll take you to OESB. The Office of Economic and Small Business Development. Remember I said that earlier, there's a lot of, abbreviations and things like that. So you can go to that, and that takes you to the OESBD page, and everything that they offer is there, including certification.
Okay, the other question was for Althea. Someone asked the difference between the SBA and SAM.gov. Like, why is the certification on SBA and not on SAM.gov? I mean, vice versa, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, no, it's okay. SAM.gov is the website to go to register your business, to do business with the federal government. The website I just put into the chat at Certify helps you sort yourself out. Okay, so I happen to be on this website to get it. Okay, there's, discovering tools in there, helping you prepare, gathering your documents, creating an account, and it's going to help you step by step get ready to apply to be get certified by SBA, which is different from being registered in SAM. Okay, so SAM allows you to get a contract from the government, no matter who you are, whether you're certified or not. If you're not in SAM, you're not getting a contract, period. But if you also want to be certified, you want to go to SBA Certify, which is the link I just put in, so that you can become certified. So they're two different systems for two different purposes. Hope that made sense.
Gotcha. Thank you for the
And
clarification.
the SBA is the one fighting for you. The GSA that runs SAM.gov, they just put out the work. So just Althea's out here fighting for years, just so you understand.
Yes.
Just so you understand.
Okay, I often get this question a lot, guys. Are there opportunities for real estate developers and healthcare industry? Because there's two different questions, but it's the same thing. So I guess Broward County, SBA, Brown County Schools, are there opportunities for the healthcare and real estate developers? Uh,
I would say that there's Broward Health.
Yeah.
That you can approach with that question, and just like, you know, all these different entities, right? You hear all this, certification this and certification that. Unfortunately, every municipality that you go to, like Broward has 31 municipalities, right? And then you also have the public schools, you have BSO, and things like that. And all of these entities have a different process of being their certifications. And so when you get Apex, you get, SBA, you get FAU, you get the county of Broward that are offering you all of these certifications and offering you a roadmap through the whole process. Take advantage.
Yes.
And even if you don't know how, start with a phone call and says, where do I go? What do I do? And the sole purpose of these organizations is to give you a leg up, right? Small businesses are the backbone of the not just the county, of the country,
Yes,
right? They are the backbone, and they do most of the heavy lifting, right? So don't think that the system is gamed against you. We are here to help you prosper, and that's our main goal. And you can see everyone here is like Sandy Michael, I say, enthusiastic in our approaches. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's, you see the body language. Nobody's slouching. Nobody, oh my God, I got to be on this call today. Everybody's excited about what we have to present, right? So take advantage and don't be bashful. Don't suffer in silence. Just put in the sweat equity. Like I told my daughter, I'm giving you everything you need to succeed. You have to do your part.
Yes. Yes. Can I amen that?
Awesome.
Amen.
Awesome.
I think you just did.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
to answer the question about healthcare, I put something in the chat to show you how you can look at historical data at the federal level. And I just put some little instructions in there. You go to fpds.gov, put healthcare in that middle Google looking search box. And there have been over 553,000 contract actions at the federal level in just the word healthcare. So if you put somebody asked about NAICS codes. If you put a more specific NAICS code, NAICS code, into that search box, you'll get even more refined results. So I hope that helps.
On the
Okay.
real estate,
Yeah.
side of that question, I would say target municipalities who are consistently focused on economic development So you can start the conversation with the economic development director of that municipality, start to talk with the city manager, start to look at the operations and see what the real estate strategy of those municipalities. So that on the real estate side for local, that's your target, because real estate is a local phenomenon, right? So a lot of that, and so then you can kind of see who are the larger developers that are trying to court those cities and those projects, and you can follow that. So
I just put a link for real property and real estate for Broward County.
Oh, excellent. In
the chat.
I'm taking that. Excellent.
So, Diana, someone's asking about the May 22 event and what kind of documents. And so I don't know if you want to share a little bit about what that might look like. I typed into the chat that you're going to need your documents and your laptop to be ready for that 522 event, because that's where we're going to actually help you do your certification. You have to pick one, though. You can't do them all in one sitting.
That's absolutely correct. So SBA, Broward County, and Broward County Public Schools will be at attendance. You do have to pick one certification to complete that day in-house on May 22nd. I have set everyone in updated flyer. I've also added it into the chat, but I will send another flyer out after this meeting today, in addition to the YouTube link, so you can go back and watch this. There's no need to send slides. At first it made sense, but I'm just uploading on YouTube, so everybody has access to everything already. But what you do need to bring is all your documents on a USB drive and your laptop. We are going to figure out a third date to go over each platform on how to use each platform and upload your documents. But what we really want is on May 22nd, if you truly need assistance or if you're having tech issues or anything, then you attend. But honestly, most of the platforms for each entity, documents are uploaded through the website. So it's not actually hands-on, it's actually uploaded through the website. So we're just here to help you if you need that extra push, but it would be great if you at least had something uploaded beforehand, and perhaps everyone in each entity can look at the documents, because every document needs to be filtered and looked through. So if you have whatever you're missing or whatever needs to be updated, and you come the final day on May 25th, you'd be like, hey, you were missing this, you had this. It's better for us to preview your documents before you attend on May 22nd. And I think most important, guys, is the top, like today was the financials, is having your tax documents there. You need to have all that up to date and the amount of years that's needed for each entity.
Yeah, and I would say take a stab at it. Maybe you don't need to come on May 22, but take a stab at it and see what's involved. Do take a look at certified.sba.gov. There's stuff in there to help you decide whether or not you should even apply. And I will say this, if you are eligible for more than one certification at SBA, you can do it in one fell swoop.
Yeah, one person that's you don't have to be certified at all events, at all entities. The reason we're doing this, guys, is for you to get certified and to begin the process. So on May 22nd, you pick one entity, whether it's SBA, Broward County, or Broward County Public Schools. Once you start one process, like if you were to start Broward County, we have a reciprocity with Broward County Public Schools. So it'd be best for you to start Broward County and then go ahead and do Broward County Public Schools, because then you'll probably get those, quicker at the same time, and then go ahead and do SBA. But if your primary goal is I need to get on SAM.gov and SBA, then that day you will do that one first. But you can't do all, because we're only there for 2 hours at the same time. You can't do all at that same time. And to be honest with you, I don't want anyone here to think you come in that day, you're certified that day. It is not an immediate process. There are a lot of procedures, steps, protocols, and check-off systems. And there's many different departments that need to check in every page of the website to make sure they have you have the proper documents uploaded. So keep in mind, once again, when you come in, it's just to start a preliminary process to get you in there and get everything going. Once you pick one entity on May 22nd, you can then now you have the email for each and other entity, and you could start making an appointment for them. Also, on May 9th, at the Broward and Beyond, you can also make an appointment and start your certification there at Broward and Beyond as well. All right. Listen, this was phenomenal. I'm so glad to have all of you guys on board. This was insightful. Right now we have 160 people on. I don't know how many people we had
I can't believe they
total.
all stayed. This is amazing.
I
Yes,
know.
I was
Thanks,
shocked. I was
guys.
shocked.
Tried to
I don't-
answer all the questions as possible, but everyone, there's an email for each and every entity. I will send it out to everyone once again, and I will also make sure I email everyone to let you guys know when we're going to do the third session to just go over each platform, because I know a lot of people have questions. We collectively thought about it yesterday, like, how do I log in? How do I do this? What is that? What's UEI? So we're just going to go over some small snippets of each website so we could make it a smooth transition for you prior to attending May 22nd, or if you have to attend May 22nd. Althea, Kirk, do you guys have anything to say before we sign off?
I just want to say thank you.
Yeah,
Y'all are
yes.
awesome. I love this. Has been so great. I thank
So
you
good.
once again, Diana, for pulling it all together. Thank
Right
you,
on.
JJ, for your enthusiasm, Crystal,
Thank you,
for
JJ.
all of that good stuff.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
everyone.
Thank you, Kurt.
And
You're welcome.
we'll see you May 22nd.
All right. Good luck, guys. Good luck.
All right.
There you go.
Bye.
Nice meeting you, Kirk. Right, Althea.
All right, friend. I'm just hearting all the stuff in the chat.
I gotta run. I got
Awesome.
another presentation.
Go ahead,
Talk
friend.
to you soon.
Take
Okay.
care. See you
Thank you,
soon.
friend.
Bye.
Making sure I do this right this time. I have to end the phone.